quick turn because people are asking questions. Who in that video, was it an air hostess that ripped the lady's shirt off that made us see her body parts? Who in that video? You know, because I'm very privy to how these things done. People can quickly shoot a side of the video to show you what transpired. But the question we keep asking is, what happened? Because action and reaction are equal and opposites. You might say everything about the lady, we condemn her as regards how she reacted, but she wouldn't just have reacted if something had not triggered the actions. And that's why when the NCA is saying that people that were in the plane should come out, but you have a manifest of those on the plane now. So I was wondering why were you saying that they should come out? Because you, the NCA, that is now saying for proper investigation, but you are taking sides. The airline operators are quickly banned her without even reviewing what transpired. It was just one side of the video. Anyway, that will be challenged in courts. So we need to look at all sides and investigate. And I'm happy the NBA said they're going to look at it. I hear the woman will be still in jail till about the 6th of October. I don't know what's going on as regards that. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, which is very bad. I think for this, bail should have also sufficed. Because the woman now is the victim in all of this. And thank God for the luck of introspection. The woman now is the victim. She's pulled down and everything. Ibon was quick to release a report. She was charged to court while nothing happened. And thank God for the public outcry. And that's why I see, please, Nigerians, sometimes it looks like your voice are not heard, but your voice are being heard. If not for the public outcry now, all of a sudden now, the IG is saying they want to now start investigating Wasu's case. For over a week, did they do anything? But thank you. That's why I say, see, democracy dies in silence. When you keep quiet, democracy will die. When you say, let's be decorous, let's not say anything, they will not do anything. It should be on record that your voices are heard. And I have a message to my big Egbon Jimmy Disu this morning. I was listening to your show while I was driving to work. And you were saying you are tired because you know all these corruption cases, will report them will not be investigated. Egbon, don't be tired. It's because people like you and I and Vimbai and Dr. Abati and everybody is talking. That's why these people that still perpetrate these actions have small fear. Because they know sunlight is the best detergent. When you shine the sunlight on them, they know everything is revealed. So please, my charge for you this morning, is don't stop talking. And for the Senate that say they want to investigate airline, Abode Moka, where is the report of their investigation when on Shomole's case happened? Abode Moka Senate, we have seen the return from Mecca. Where is the investigation? As regards EFCC, see, EFCC cannot remove the toga that they are politically slanted. Let's not deceive ourselves. Me, Rufai Hussein, I've spoken for EFCC many times. When they went after Yahya Bello, I spoke for them. I fought with EFCC and I will fight with EFCC because I feel corruption and I know corruption should be exposed in this country. But the question I have for EFCC is this. Where is the results of the investigation into the former humanitarian minister? Till today, we have not heard anything. And you want me to believe that everything is fair. Release the report of that investigation. Let's even see if the woman is exonerated or not. And you want me to believe. All of a sudden, David Mark, Emeka Ehedioha, Tambawa, I'm not saying if they are corrupt, they should not be found out. But the question is, when did you get this file on David Mark or Tambawa and all these people? Why is that you waited till they started their ADC activity? That's why it looks suspicious. And from Intel, I hear more of them will still be, I hear more investigations are still on. They are still reading things connected to these people. So why is it that it is now that when ADC started that we are seeing all of this? Why? At least David Mark has been out of power for how many years now? If you had all of this, if you have prosecuted David Mark months before the ADC started, I would be the one to support you. But it's looking like they say in Nigerian parlance, one kind. It doesn't mean when you're not on your right, I will fight with you, I will support you, which the EFCC is also aware. And they have noted the fight I also fought. But on this, I'm taking the fight to them. It's hard for them to prove that it's not political. They should prove it by releasing the investigation in what transpired in the former interior ministry and some other cases that are pending and allegations people have made to them so that we see it for ourselves. I'm not surprised if Mr. Soludo wants to support anybody. I'm not surprised when anybody has a right to support anybody. But it is the people that will determine. Mr. Soludo didn't support Peter Obi in elections in what's it called in Anambra, he still won overwhelmingly in Anambra. So he can support anybody he wants to support. That's just my own.
Okay, let's start with EFCC. I've tried again and again on this table to explain the EFCC mandate, the powers of the EFCC under the Enabling Act of 2014 to, investigate, to seize, to indict people, to prosecute people, and all of that. What Mr. Léàked is saying, basically, is that it is acting within its mandate. And everyone should just note the point that he made, that, look, EFCC is running a non-partisan mandate, which means that, whether you are in APC or you are in ADC or you are in SDP or in PDP, the agency has the powers under its Enabling Act to call anybody to question, to investigate, and to follow through on the basis of the findings of those investigations. Now, he also made a point that there is no statute of limitation on criminal charges. In other words, how do you differentiate between old cases and fresh cases? If a man was governor 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, and then the EFCC now is revisiting the case, the defense of the EFCC chairman is that, okay, maybe they've been carrying out investigations all these years, and when the investigation ripens, then they can still move against the person. However, the caveat to that, the other way to look at it, the footnote, to be specific, is that this is a political season. The timing. This is a time when people are moving from one wing of the political system to the other. Why should it be at that time that you now have high-profile persons like Senator Tambuwal and former Governor Ihedioha, who are the ones being invited? And this is not new, in my view. Under President Obasanjo, under every other president, there were these assumptions that the EFCC was being used as a political tool to harass, to intimidate people who were not in the good books of the government. And in fact, it reached its height. This abuse of public institutions, either the ICPC or the EFCC, reached its height under the Muhammadu Buhari administration, which was a very vindictive, administration, trying to settle scores with people without necessarily looking at the issue. So the message to Mr. Léàked and the EFCC is that the expectation of Nigerians is that the EFCC will be fair, that the EFCC will not allow itself to be used for partisan purposes, as he himself has affirmed. And as they say, people will always react to what they see. So the onus is on the EFCC to continue to show this non-partiality that Mr. Léàked talks about, and to separate the operations of these institutions from politics. And President Tinubu, at the end of the day, is the one who has that ultimate responsibility to ensure that anti-corruption agencies are not used for political purposes. I don't think this is the last time Mr. Léàked will have to explain to the public. He will have to keep providing justification to say, look, there's no limitation of time. There is also no partisanship involved. That takes care of that. As for Governor Soludo and Senator Aliyu Wadada, Senator Aliyu Wadada represents Nasarawa West. He used, on the platform of the SDP, he used to be a member of the All Progressives Congress. Now, he says he's supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Governor Soludo of Anambra State says he has no apologies for supporting President President Tinubu, whom he has known personally for 22 years. And he thinks that is the person who should remain in the saddle of government to move this country forward. Well, both Senator Wadada and Governor Soludo, they have rights under the Constitution to make their own choices. However, the way that I will look at it is to say that both gentlemen are expressing what is called political wisdom. Governor Soludo, for example, is in Anambra State. He's a potential presidential candidate from the Southeast. So both now and in the future, he has to make wise choices. And I think that what he has done in this case is to take a wise decision. Senator Wadada has seen the direction in which the train is moving. He too is trying to be wise and protect himself. After all, in life, as in politics, the first rule of the game is self-preservation. Beyond self-preservation, you also worry about your own future and your own calculations. So I think what is being played out here is political wisdom at a personal level. You may disagree with it, but you cannot question the right of the individuals to make their choice. Finally, the Senate saying that it's going to exercise oversight functions, responsibility over issues that have been happening in the aviation sector. It is perfectly within the right of the Senate to do so, to ask questions, because there are many gray areas in the matter involving Quam 1 and in the matter involving Quam 2, and also the role of the institutions. Yesterday, Michael Achimogo was said to have been on television, and he was saying that there is a subtle difference between the Quam 1 case and the Quam 2 case. Quam 2 case now is referring to Comfort Emerson in the Ibom Air incident. And he was saying that, well, the airline involved in the Quam 1 case did not decide to press matters, did not decide to go to court. But that in the Ibom Air case, you know, the airline acted differently, and also that the AON, Airline Operators Organization of Nigeria, also decided to press the matter. The rub of it, the long and short of it, is a point being made by the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, SAN, leading that team, saying the same points that I made yesterday. That one, Ms. Comfort Emerson was dehumanized, she was tortured. Her privacy was exposed unduly. She has the right to privacy, she has the right to movement under Section 41, she has the right to the dignity of the human person, she has the right to fair hearing under Sections 35 and 36 of the Constitution of Nigeria. All of these rights were routinely violated. However, what we expect is that the NBA will offer pro bono services to defend our rights.
I don't know if I am the one that like Arise TV analyst. Like they always analyze everything valuable without being biased. Yes. But this Ibom airline incident really shocked a lot of people, because most of the people judge by what they see. Me, I did not even say anything because I wanted to know what happened to that lady wig inside the plane. What happened to her wig? Because I overheard her saying, where is my wig? Why do you remove my wig? And you pull off my wig, right? But they did not. The masses refused to talk about that. It was when they dragging, and when the lady was trying to, it was trying to calm her down, and she now was that one slap. And people were like, oh, it's lack of home training. Something never happens to you. You are shouting lack of home training. When you are in that situation, act the way you want to act. I love her say don't go that one slap. At least every day still there. I know say they go still collect money join, because normally her phone was in a flight mode.
There are already some agencies, some NGOs saying we will defend her pro bono because she has human rights, and that there are details in this matter that have not been properly addressed in terms of how government has tried to be selective in terms of the administration of justice. However, the residual lesson that everyone must learn is that when you are a passenger, you are traveling, you are as a citizen you have rights, but you also have responsibility. And the primary responsibility here is to respect the rules of the land and to respect the rules governing the operations so that you do not jeopardize the security of other passengers, whether you are Quam 1 or you are Quam 2.
Okay,
Absolutely.
there's a new quick
an
story.
update.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Press statement, decision to withdraw criminal complaints against Ms. Comfort. In the last 48 hours, I've been in consultation with critical stakeholders in the aviation sector involving the unfortunate incident. Though regrettably, we think valuable lessons have been learned by all sides of the incident. As I alerted in my previous statement, clear 2 wrongs committed by the offending passenger and the staff of the airlines involved in all the evidence available to us. It is clear that all actors involved cannot continue to highlight the injury or injustice done to them without acknowledging their own equal fault. Therefore, after reviewing the entire incident, including appeals made by well-meaning individuals and remorse shown by actors, the case of, what's it called, Comfort MNC, I have conferred Ibom Airline to withdraw criminal complaints against her today. When the police took her statement in presence of the lawyer, she exhibited great remorse for her conduct. Subsequently, the withdrawal of the complaints by the CP of the airport and the police prosecutor would immediately take a remaining steps to facilitate her release from Kirikiri prison. And he also talked about the case of Kwamo. I don't want to impinge on your time.
Okay, well, so just the highlights of that. So any criminal complaints against Ms. Comfort Emanson have now been withdrawn. This is as per the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, is breaking from our news desk. Additionally, as Rufai said, they will be facilitating for her release from Kirikiri as soon as possible, they say this week. Additionally, they have spoken to the airline operators of Nigeria to request that the life ban be rescinded. That communique, they say, will come out later. With regards to Quam 1, his own punishment with regards to no flying has been reduced from this initial 6-month period reported. It's now down to a 1-month period. And FAN will also engage him as an ambassador for correct airport protocol, security protocol going forward. Similarly, any criminal complaint lodged against Quam 1 shall be withdrawn. And ValueJet is said to also will be restoring the piloting licenses of those officers involved after a 1-month suspension. So that's a summary, and I think the conclusion was that the minister said this is based on compassionate grounds and that this is where he draws the line, and moving forward there will be zero tolerance. I paraphrase. That's the latest update on that story. Well, I think this will elicit mixed reactions. As much as it is a big relief, it also goes back to the question that when are we going to be able to ensure that we enforce consequences? When are we going to eradicate impunity? So number one, there's a culture of impunity. Number two, there's a culture of begging after you have been caught breaking rules. So when are we going to learn that sorry in itself does not resolve issues? That if we continue with a society of sorry and apologies, it doesn't fix what is broken. So I think these are positive developments in ensuring that these two cases are able to temper down. Part of the statement also says that the airlines and operators and so forth will also be sanctioned to go for a retreat next week to engage their staff. Well, I think there'll be several comments coming from this, but this is just breaking news that's coming in. With the time I have left, I'll quickly look at Governor Soludo, who, of course, by no surprise, has endorsed President Tinubu for 2027. I looked at this issue from two prisms. The first prism for me is 2025. We have a senatorial by-election coming up this weekend. That's Anambra South, to fill the vacancy left by the dearly departed Senator Ifeanyi Uba. And then, of course, in November, we have a gubernatorial election also taking place in Anambra. Now, in all of this, Nicholas Ukachukwu of the APC has been using the slogan that he will connect Anambra State to the national political grid as his way of campaigning to say that having an APC governor will serve in the state's best interest. So I think this immediately neutralizes that campaign. This move by Governor Soludo immediately says that if it's about being connected to the national political grid, I am capable. So it will be interesting to see how Nicholas Ukachukwu is going to navigate this. This is a litmus test for him, the gubernatorial election in November, because he's actually from Anambra South as well.